Hello friends, what's up? This is Ron here, and in this King of Fighters All-Star video we are going to talk about the possible best imprint stones for these boss syndrome characters: boss syndrome Ignis, boss syndrome Zero, boss syndrome Krizalid, and Geese Howard. And as you guys know that this banner have started from yesterday, and you can actually get these characters and their memories from these banners, but unfortunately you cannot get their imprint stones. But that doesn't mean that these characters are useless. In fact, it's the other way. If you can actually equip these characters with proper gold imprint stones and star and moon imprint stones, then these characters can be devastating to a great extent, my friends. And this video is actually a response to one of my viewers who made a comment in my videos about this request, that he wanted to know about the proper imprint stones. And the name of the viewer is Men O Men, and thanks for this nice comment, my friend, because this sort of problems should be solved. And I really appreciate you guys when you make these sort of comments, so it actually gives me ideas to make videos on this. So let's start with boss syndrome Ignis, because he is my most favorite character, of course. So let's start with him, and let me take you to this equip section, imprint stone section. And as you guys know that first time when he came, we have this boss syndrome volume 3 imprint stones, but now we are not having them. But let's see what type of imprint stone we can use to this character. And boss syndrome Ignis is actually a great character with 2 dots. He has actually shock in his skill, first skill. As you can see that in his first skill he is going to deal shock damage equal to 28% of attack, and also he has darkness in his coat. That means he has 2 dots. So you should actually focus on these 2 dots whenever you are equipping these imprint stones. So for the first slot you can actually equip this sort of imprint stone that is going to increase attack by 10% and increase shock damage dealing by 25%, and of course increase balance type fighters attack by 12%. And one thing you should know, that this double attack imprint gold imprint stones is actually going to give you 2% extra attack than the boss syndrome imprint stones. And let me just show you. And this was the original imprint stone that came with the banner when this boss syndrome Ignis came first. And as you can see, this was just increasing attack 10% here, 10% here, and in the middle it is going, it just helped with some PG gain and all that stuffs. But instead I actually changed this imprint stone, and I found this stone way more useful. So don't lose your heart if you are actually summoning this character and thinking about that I am not getting this boss syndrome imprint stone. My friends, in all honesty, these double attack gold imprint stones are way more powerful than the boss syndrome imprint stones to a great extent, my friends. And of course I don't have all the imprint stones, so I just can show you just by examples. And this one is a perfect imprint stone for this character. And note this fact that this imprint stone is matching the color of the character. Boss syndrome Ignis is a blue balance type character, so this is a blue imprint stone, as you can see the color here. And of course this is matching this balance type fighter, and this fighter is a balance type fighter. So you need to match these things, these 2 things first. And on the secondary effect, it is increasing shock damage dealing by 25% for 10 seconds using an awakening skill. And as I have talked before, that boss syndrome Ignis has shock in his active skill. So 1 dot is covered here. We have touched 1 dot, and of course this stone is a double attack stone. This is going to increase attack 10% from the tier 1 and 12% from the tier 2. So this is an ideal stone for this character, and this type of stone you should apply to this character. And first one, you can usually go with this shock. The shock will be very useful for this character, so you can use this stone for the circle slot. And for the square slot, I don't really have the ideal imprint stone, but I just can show you by an example that this one, that is going to increase attack by 10% from this tire, and increase shock damage from this tire, and increase in the tire 3 it is going to increase 12%. It is attack type fighter. Of course, it should be balanced for BS Igniz, because BS Igniz is a balanced type fighter. Now the thing is, you can actually play with this thing, because BS Igniz has actually 2 dots. He has darkness in his core and shock in his active skill. So either you can add this shock imprint stone here, that is going to deal shock damage from the middle effect. Otherwise, you can actually change this to darkness. Increase darkness damage dealing by 10% for 10 seconds will be also amazing for this character. So either way, you can add shock or darkness. So I hope you understood that what you can do for the square imprint stone. Either you can go for shock or darkness, it doesn't really matter. Both will be helpful for this character, but of course darkness can be applicable to be helpful a lot, because this character basically deals darkness from each and every one of his active skill. It doesn't really matter what type of skill he does, he will deal darkness, but that is not going to be a lasting dot. So you need to keep this thing in your mind. So go with shock or darkness. So in the first stone we went with shock, in the second stone we went with either shock or darkness. In the third stone, in the same way, you should use this type of stones, and I'm sorry once again because I don't have the appropriate stone, and of course you are going to use this sort of stone, but a bit different, because of course this will be same, it will be increasing attack, and the secondary effect, this is burn, but this is burn is not going to be applicable for this character. You can either use darkness or shock once again. So keep the matching dots, of course keep the matching dots, and of course keep the matching color, and this stone as is showing that it is going to increase attack type fighters, and you should keep this one as balance. And of course never ever forget to match this color right here that is showing blue. All the stones must be in blue color. Now the overall thing is there are 3 stones: circle, square and hexagon. You can actually go with equip 2 shock plus attack stones, or 2 darkness plus 1 shock. You can go either way, it doesn't matter, both will work really amazing with this character. But in my opinion, I would suggest that go with 2 darkness and 1 shock, that will be amazing. And 2 shock darkness is not wrong at all, so both are perfect. So keep this matching dots, of course, and of course double attack stones, and of course match the colors. Regarding the star and moon imprint stones, if you are just equipping this sort of silver imprint stones, then just go for attack and shock in one imprint stone, and attack and darkness in another imprint stone. Of course cover the both dots, keep 1 shock and 1 darkness, that will be immensely useful for this character. But if you are using double attack gold imprint stones, then you can actually use this sort of imprint stone that is going to increase attack by 10%, increase blast skill damage by a certain percent, and increase balance type fighters by 12% in the third effect. Of course this is not the ideal stone, I am just showing you. For example, you should use this blast skill, because this character actually has 3 blast skill in his kit, so that is amazing, and even his finisher itself is a blast skill. So any sort of blast skill damage dealing thing will be highly useful for this character. So I believe now you are having a good idea about the imprint stones of BS Igniz. Now let's move on to his captain, that is BS0 original. And BS0 original is a tremendous character, and he has both bleeding and poison in his active skills. And as you can see, he is going to deal bleed damage equal to 30% of attack, and he is going to deal poison damage equal to 35% of attack. That means he deals a bit more poison damage than bleeding. So try to focus on poison as much as possible, and of course you should try to build this character as a poison damage dealing character, because honestly there is no great poison character so far in the game other than this guy. He is the best poison dealer so far, and you should build him as a poison dealing monster. So let's check his imprint stones, and as you can see that I have just added his boss syndrome imprint stones, but of course there are better alternatives, and I'll show you right now. And of course the boss syndrome 0 original is a purple element fighter, so you need to match this stone as a purple element stone, but of course this is not an ideal stone at all. I don't have the right stone, but just to show you, just keep this attack this tire on attack, that is going to increase attack by 10%, and in the middle effect keep poison or bleeding, anyone, just anyone. Keep either don't keep burn, because burn is not going to work. Keep either poison or bleeding in the secondary effect, and of course in the final effect increase attack type fighters attack by 12%, because this guy is an attack type fighter. So try to match these effects on the first stone, that is going to be helpful. Now we have just I have just showed you the circle stone, so now we are into the squared imprint stone. Now we have added poison on the probably if you are adding poison on the circle imprint stone, then you should try to add 2 imprint stone with poison. You just added, for example, if you just added a circle with poison, then you should actually add either square or hexagon with poison as well. And this one you should use the same thing, attack here, poison in the middle, and attack here as well. So this is match the color, and that will be amazing. And of course if you are going to add these 2 imprint stone with attack plus poison, then the third one should be bleeding, because bleeding is also one of his dots. So just try to use this sort of imprint stone with the bleeding in the middle effect, and this is not the right effect of course. And as you are adding, and of course match this attack type, everything of course match the double attack thing and color. I'm just telling you again and again. And the thing is, the first stone should be poison or bleeding. If it is poison or bleeding, if it is poison, then the other 2, one of them should be poison, another should be bleeding. The main point is, out of 3 imprint stones, you should keep 2 of them with poison and another one with bleeding. And for the star and moon imprint stone, you can actually go either way, but the ideal way would be to just add attack plus poison to one stone and attack plus bleeding to another stone. But unfortunately I am just adding both poison, because I don't have poison in any of these imprint stones. So try to balance this thing, that if you are going to add more poison here, try to add one bleeding here of course. So one of this stone can be a bleeding one, and one of these can be bleeding, so and the rest of all will be attack plus poison. But if you are aiming to use double attack stones like this gold star or moon imprint stone, then of course try to match this blast skill in the middle, because this guy is all about blast. He has 5 blast skill, and all of his skills are actually blast skill. So any double attack and blast skill stone will be ideal for this character, my friends. So I hope now we have understood clearly about the imprint stone operation for boss syndrome 0. Now let's go to the next character, and that will be good old Krizalid. And of course you guys know that Krizalid has a lot of stuff going on in his kit, and beside all, he can actually deal radiant or starlight from this skill and blackout or darkness from this skill. So we are having once again 2 dots from his active skills. Now let's check out the imprint stone operation of this guy. And nothing really changes. In the similar way, you should add this type of YOLO double attack stones. Of course, this is not his double attack. I apologize once again for not having the appropriate imprint stone, but once again you should increase attack on this tire and increase starlight damage on the second tire, and of course in the third tire you should increase attack once again. That is going to give you 22% attack plus starlight or darkness damage, whatever you want. And in the same way, in the 3 stones you should add at least 2 of them as starlight probably, and 1 of them as darkness, or you can actually add 2 darkness or 1 starlight. But as we saw in the case of original Zero, that he actually deals 5% extra poison damage than the bleeding damage. In the same way, this character also deals more starlight than blackout or darkness, so you should try to make him as a starlight dealing character, and that will be really helpful for you against guild raids and any sort of places. And of course he is as a character, he will deal more attack as a starlight damage dealing character. So the first stone you should keep or you should keep maybe double attack and starlight. The second one, that is the square imprint stone. Once again you might actually keep the double attack thing, of course, like for example, let's see this one. This is a double attack stone, but of course this is not the appropriate stone. You should match this balance type here. This one says attack, but Krizalid is a balance type character, so this should be increased balance type fighters attack by 12%, as you guys already understand. In the second tire it says burn, but you should keep starlight most probably or darkness, and the first effect will be attack by 10%. And of course don't forget to match the color, my friends, and same will be in the third case as well. So overall try to put 2 starlight damage dealing stones, either first or second, it doesn't really matter, but try to put 2 starlight plus attack and 1 darkness plus attack. That will be helpful for this character, my friends. And in terms of imprint stones, for the star and moon, you can actually use both of them as starlight plus attack, or you can actually go with starlight darkness plus attack. It really depends on in which game mode or against which type of bosses you are going to use. If you, for example, if you are using him against say lunatic Rugal, then of course try to make him as a starlight damage dealing monster, and that will be helpful. And as I have added 2 as you can see 2 dark attack plus starlight here in the moonstone, the star stone as well, both attack plus starlight. And of course if you are trying to add some sort of double attack moon or star imprint stone, then let me just show you. You may actually use this sort of imprint stone that is increasing grab skill in the middle, because this character is actually having 3 grab skill in the kit, so that is very important. So you can actually use it, or otherwise just use simply any strike skill, because this character also has 2 strike skill as well. But I would suggest if you are having any sort of availability of this star and moon imprint stone in the gold department, I would say grab can actually do a good job. I did a mistake previously, because this character doesn't really have 2 strike skill. This character has only 1 strike skill and 1 blast skill and 3 grab skill. So this grab skill increasing option can increase the character's overall damage output to a lot. So I guess that clears all. Now let's go to our one only boss syndrome, Geese Howard. And like all other characters we talked about, Geese Howard is actually having 2 dots. He is having shock from this skill that is going to deal shock damage equal to 30% of attack for every 1 second for 7 seconds. And once again from this skill, this is going to apply blackout for 7 seconds to the target upon landing a skill. Deals darkness damage equal to 30% of attack every 1 second, decrease power by 2%. So unlike all other characters, this character is actually dealing equal amount of damage both in terms of shock and starlight, shock and darkness or blackout, whatever you say. So that makes things a bit easier for him. And regarding Imprint stones, for the circle slot, you can actually use this sort of Imprint stone, but this is not the ideal, of course. Ignore the color, of course you should match the green color because Geese Howard is a green attack type character, and of course you need to match this effect as attack type character because he is an attack type character. Otherwise this type of stone you can use, that is going to be a double attack stone and also increase shock damage dealt by 25% for using 10 second upon using an awaken skill. So you can keep shock on this stone and maybe darkness on the second stone as I have showed you before, and maybe shock or darkness, either any one of them in the third stone. It doesn't really matter, just try to use them both of these dots as much as possible. But in anyways, Geese Howard is not really a very famous dot dealing character, so just go anyway, it doesn't really matter. And in terms of star and moon Imprint stone, just keep one shock and one darkness with attack, just like BS Igniz as I have described, because that character has also shock and darkness, and this character also has shock and darkness, but of course Ignis is way superior than Geese Howard in terms of dot, and Geese Howard's dot is not really that effective at all, but it just works, and it is just okay. But you can actually go with attack plus shock here, as well, if you want to play against a shock bosses who are vulnerable against shock. It really depends on against which boss you are playing. So I hope I have made things clear about the Imprint stones for this character. I know it is really easy to say, but it is not really that easy to get those perfect Imprint stones by matching the color, character type and relevant dot and everything. Personally I struggle a lot, and I know you guys will be struggling a lot, but don't lose your heart, just stay patient and stay put, take your time, keep playing the guild and keep opening more boxes. At some point you will be getting those stones, of course, my friends. So I believe this video was useful to you if you are summoning in this banner. Hope to see you guys soon in some other videos, and of course please let me know if you have any questions or anything that is concerning these characters or their Imprint stones or cards or anything. Hope to see you guys soon, and peace out, my friends.